Hi everybody, I hope everybody's having a great summer so far. I know I am having a very exciting summer. Um, uh, Tiring at times, but very nice. And I hope that you are too. Mrs. Dombrowski and I went to the New York City the other day in order to see the Titanic exhibit. There's an exhibit there that you can buy tickets to. We bought our tickets before the tragedy that happened, unfortunately. But I wanted to share a video of it so that we can look at it and get an idea. It's really, um, I think, Mrs. Rossi's favorite part of history is the Titanic disaster and expedition. So we're going to take a look at it. Here we just have the we're going through New York. I just thought this was interesting because there was a festival, I think like for Japanese food or something like that, but they closed down all of Sixth Avenue, which I thought was crazy. Here's the opening to the exhibition. This is over in Greenwich Village, I think. Here are the third class cabins. So this is like the lowest class on the Titanic, recreation, of course. Notice the water that you put in the top of it and then open the sink. For a lot of people, this is very luxurious as they were, they have sheets and stuff on such a famous ship. This is second class stuff. So if you're a second class passenger, there's Mrs. Dombrowski. You could buy a ticket for this and you would get a sitting room, and you can see how much bigger it is. There's a bed instead of bunk beds. These are people that were had a lot of money, I would say. And then of course after second class, which is the display here, these are all recreations, of course. Here's the first class. There's Mrs. Dombrowski again. So this is the first class, what it would look like on first class. So you can see, of course, there's handrails on the side for a ship, right? But you can see how much, how luxurious it looks and how great. And there's an audio guide as you go through. So you go to each one. Sometimes she doesn't like to be on camera. You go to each one and you can listen to their descriptions, and they also have pictures up and different letters. These are human beings who died in this tragedy, and they had lives, and a lot of them hoped for a new life in America. People would have to save typically. I know there was one man from Sweden who had to save for 5 years salary in order to buy a ticket on Titanic. There was another ship called the Olympia that a lot of these pictures are from, because it was the same as the Titanic. A lot of pictures from Titanic did not survive, but they have pictures from the Olympia, which is the exact same setup as the Titanic. That was just a model of the Titanic underwater. Here we have some more pictures of people. There was a survivor there in the background. He worked on the coal shoveling part. That he didn't like to talk about it. And then, of course, here are the heroic musicians who played music as the ship went down. They decided to die doing what they loved. Even though they knew the ship was going down and they couldn't get on a lifeboat because it was women and children, they went down with the ship. And here's actually a cool thing here. This is an actual large piece of ice. It's supposed to be like an iceberg that you can put your hand on and see like how cold it would have been. A lot of people died not from drowning, but rather from hypothermia, going into that water that was so chillingly cold and staying there, and even on the boats they would die. And then this is an example of the wireless. So the early version of radio that would have been on the Titanic. So the Titanic sent out disaster, SOS, Mayday signals, and some ships responded. And these are all the passengers in third class who died. Some of them are very young. There's a list of children there, some as young as 2, and then the second class passengers and the first class passengers as well. So a lot of people. So it was I would say, of course, it was a terrible tragedy. It's a very interesting part of history for a lot of people. It speaks a lot to the different classes that existed at the time, and it gives you kind of a snapshot of what life was like in the 20th century. And there's a lot of human stories there as well. So it was an interesting exhibit, and one that I would recommend. I enjoyed it much more than I thought I was going to enjoy it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're having an awesome summer, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.